Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Buffalo SportsCenter. I am Don, and today we are going to preview a huge divisional matchup between the 4-11 New England Patriots and the 9-6 Buffalo Bills. But before I do that, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. You know, the usual YouTube creator begging stuff. Do all of that. All of those links are down in the description to our different platforms. Now, let's discuss a little bit this big divisional game, and let's start off by talking about an inconsistent group, and that is the Buffalo Bills offense. A couple weeks ago, they romped the Dallas Cowboys, dominated them on the ground. Last Saturday, though, against the Los Angeles Chargers, it was kind of a different story. Josh Allen had an uneven game. James Cook was limited on the ground and didn't catch a single ball in the checkdown game, which was very surprising after it kind of really worked to perfection against the Cowboys. Very surprised that Joe Brady and Bunch didn't go back to that. And we saw a familiar trend this season that popped up again on Saturday night, and that was turnovers that just shoot this Bills team in the foot. 3 turnovers committed by the Bills team, 2 of them on offense. One of them came on a special teams punt return fumble by Deontay Hardy. Remind me again what use he does for the Bills. I'm not sure. I wish Sean McDermott or Brendan Bean could tell me, but he doesn't provide very much. But anyways, the Bills offense really hurt themselves. Josh Allen had an interception. That was one of the 2 turnovers. The other one came on a James Cook fumble about 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That almost doomed the Bills. It could have seriously gone sideways for Buffalo if their defense didn't stand on their heads like they did. But the defense did their jobs, and eventually the Bills' offense did theirs. Josh Allen again had another game with a passing and a rushing touchdown, and when he needed to be, he put on his Superman cape and willed this Bills offense to score any points. And take, for example, that pass where he found Khalil Shakir with just over 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Running backwards on his back foot, 4 defenders in his face, and somehow he finds the power in his lower body to rocket a lob pass to Khalil Shakir right around the 10-yard line, and that play helped seal the Bills' victory. But it was a little too close to comfort, and for the Bills to have success against the Patriots, the offense really needs to limit those turnovers. They need to execute. Because it's not just a Ken Dorsey thing or a Joe Brady thing. These players need to execute. They cannot keep shooting themselves in the foot, because it doesn't matter how much talent you have on this team. Teams like the Chargers, who had just fired their head coach and the GM, even they almost knocked off the Bills when the Bills were shooting themselves in the foot. The Bills cannot defeat the Bills. That is absolutely necessary if the Bills want to make the postseason. But let me stop talking about the Bills offense. I got to stop complaining. I want to talk about the Patriots defense, a unit that has actually not been horrible for the last couple of weeks. In fact, they have been turnover filled. They've been strong against the running game. And, I mean, that's not too surprising. Bill Belichick is still their head coach, and while they only have 4 wins on the year, the Patriots are one of the better 4-win teams I think I've came across, because their defense is still really good. And like I said, Bill Belichick, he's still the coach. He's still the one that's manning this defense, so it's not a big surprise that the defense is playing hard and they're still trying to win over jobs for next year. Bill Belichick in the same boat. We don't know if he's going to be back next season, so this could be his final game against the Bills. Yes, please be. I do not want to see that man anymore, but we need to take them seriously. The Patriots defense has been really good, as I mentioned, against the turnovers. I want to talk a little bit about linebacker Jelani Tavai and safety Jabril Peppers. And even though Jabril Peppers didn't play last week, he's had a huge impact on this team. And same with Tavai, and that has come in turnovers. They have forced 9 of the Patriots' 15 takeaways, and that's mightily impressive. And again, Tavai last week nearly forced up a couple of turnovers against Russell Wilson in that very, very lackluster Broncos offense. But I also want to highlight one other player, and this is kind of a surprise story this season. Christian Barrymore, their defensive lineman, had 3 sacks last week against the Broncos. 3 sacks, and he also had a forced fumble. So that, again, that's where the takeaways come into huge play for this Patriots defense. Their offense, in its limited capacity, desperately needs short fields. The Patriots defense knows just how to do that, and last week they did, and that helped will this team to a victory over the Broncos. And it also probably helps that they picked up a critical special teams touchdown, something that they haven't done in quite a while. The Patriots special teams has really struggled this year, so to see them score a touchdown in the way that they did, very surprising. Very surprising. But the Patriots defense aren't the only ones that are desperately trying to keep their team in games. The Bills defense are also doing the same thing. And when you talk about the Bills defense, you would think you'd first mention Von Miller. No, he's been disappointing. Tre'Davious White, no, he's still injured. Matt Milano and his injury, no. Terrell Bernard and Terrell Dotson have both surprisingly been able to fill Milano's shoes. I mean, at least better than all we expected, because we thought the Bills' offense would have to carry this team to victories. Well, more times than not this season, the Bills' defense has actually done that. And while they've lost the Bills' games, most notably that Week 7, Week 8 game against the Patriots way back in Foxborough, way back earlier in the season, the Bills' defense lost in that game. But they have managed to help the Bills to defeat not only the Chargers, but the Chiefs in the last 3 weeks. And they limited the Cowboys to only 10 points. A Cowboys offense that was really rolling before they went into the Orchard Park and to the Bills Mafia's palace, and where they really laid an egg. But the Bills defense did that. They forced them to not really get a groove on. And again, Easton Stick, not necessarily one of the more noteworthy quarterbacks that the Bills have played, but he provided a different and unique challenge, and the Bills defense was able to squash any hopes that the Chargers had of pulling off the improbable upset. Easton Stick was efficient, especially in the first half, but in the second half, the Bills defense made adjustments, and despite the offense shooting this team in the foot, the defense took what they were given and continuously forced the Chargers to settle for field goals. They bent but didn't break. The Chargers scored 5 field goals, and they had 6 drives where they were in the Bills' territory. Normally, that's a recipe for disaster, and especially couple that with the 3 turnovers that the Bills committed, you should be losing that game 9 out of 10 times. But for some reason, the Bills' defense felt that they were underappreciated and want to remind everyone how good they were. And Ed Oliver has been fantastic for the Bills this year, and he was fantastic on Saturday. I already mentioned Bernard and Dodson. Christian Benford was banged up but had a good game as well. And Poona Ford. Who would have thought? Defensive lineman for the Bills. He hasn't really done too much this year, yet when it really mattered, Poona Ford stepped up in a big way with a huge pressure on Easton Stick, which eventually led to an Ed Oliver sack, and that forced the Chargers to settle for a long field goal. Poona Ford had his best game as a Buffalo Bill, and he'll need to be again on his game because this Patriots offense, again, no joke. Bailey Zappi, I think, has been really solid since he stepped in for Mac Noodle Arm Jones earlier this year. He was on point against the Broncos. He went 25 for 33, 256 yards, and 2 touchdown passes. And he was really finding some good chemistry with Demario Douglas, Devontae Parker. Hunter Henry is usually one of his favorite targets. He was last time the Patriots faced the Bills. And, the only thing you can say about this Patriots offense is that, yes, we don't expect them to be very good. And they don't normally put up too many points. But they've put up 26 points against the Broncos. Well, 17 or 19 because of that special teams touchdown that I mentioned earlier. And you look back to that Steelers game as well, where they actually did win narrowly. Almost blew that one, but they did. They did win that one. But the offense is actually scoring points now. Bill O'Brien, I think, has found a good balance for Bailey Zappi. He is a game manager, but he can be efficient, and his check down passes are really strong. And, the Patriots, they're not going to beat you with big stretch plays, explosive passes. No, they're going to beat you really slowly, methodically, slowly again, again methodically. They just will lull you into a false sense of comfort, and then they will come back and just steal the game from you. And that's what they did against the Broncos, who desperately needed that game if they wanted to have any shot of making the playoffs. Bailey Zappi, like I mentioned, really good. Ezekiel Elliott, their top running back, he should not be on this team next year. He's been a really big weak spot for this offense. They haven't been able to find any consistency on the ground since Ramondre Stevenson got injured, and Ezekiel Elliott, he's just not the answer. So if the Bills want to force the Patriots offense to really be frustrated, then you have to make sure that they become one-dimensional, force Bailey Zappi to win this game. Because while he's an efficient game manager, it's not so certain if he can actually outright win games for this team. He kind of did against the Broncos, but the Bills are not the same as the Broncos. And I say that knowing that the Patriots did beat this Bills team earlier in the season. So for the Bills, this is a huge game. This is one that they must absolutely have if they want to win that AFC East. Their odds of making it to the playoffs really improved after a bunch of favorable results this past weekend, but they still need to handle business and defeat the New England Patriots. And for the Patriots, their fans would love them to lose and pick up a high-rated quarterback like Drake May or Caleb Williams. Bill Belichick and this team have other plans, and we'll see how this game goes. It's an interesting one for sure, but that's it for me. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. I hope to see all of you in the next video, and let's take a look at what our BSC panel is predicting for this Week 17 matchup between the Bills and Patriots.
Inside the one.
You can still go sneak here.
And they will. Allen takes it right to the goal line, and he's in. Touchdown, Buffalo. Allen operating out of the gun. Allen has the time.